welcome to, it seems like we just introduced January's first show. Now we're going to be in February.
Yeah.
The February edition, of Mainely Motorsports, just getting started, and winter has just flown by.
I think I've been with you like a year now.
Really?
Yeah, I think it was like February or March, right in there. It's almost a year.
No, it was...
When I first came in, yep.
Really? Mm-hmm. So you've grown on me. I don't know if you've grown, and if he has grown, I don't want the girlfriend getting mad at me and blaming it on me, right? It's the fact probably that he's, I ain't saying, because I don't want to get you in trouble, because I've done that with co-hosts before, got them in trouble, got them saying stuff, they don't even realize they're saying it until their wife brings it to their attention after watching the show. So I know you got broad shoulders, but...
I do have big shoulders.
Yeah, I just don't want to see you get your butt kicked. But you're back in familiar surroundings, and down here at the Pepperell Mill campus, right here at the old...
Finally, after a couple hectic weeks that we had, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And but the grip seminar, huh? I mean, how much knowledge was there?
It was almost overwhelming to a point. I mean, they laid it out, but the workbook that you got with it had everything in it, and it was so detailed. It was almost like you didn't even have to take notes. I mean, I made like highlights in the workbook, and that was my notes.
Yeah.
You know?
Wow, no kidding. So a guy like me could have gone, slept through 4 days of class.
No.
Brought home my book and...
No, because there was interaction in between, and it explained like the more detail of the stuff that was in the workbook, so that you understood it better, by looking at it. Now I can look at the stuff in the workbook and be like, oh yeah, and it'll bring up that conversation that was going on at the time or whatnot. But it was very informative. I really feel like the people who didn't go might have missed something,
Well,
but
I think, and I want to give you my opinion on that. I think, and I don't remember when they started their kickoff, of when they decided they were going to have grip.
Right.
I don't think it was, maybe around October, September. I'm not sure, August.
Yeah.
But the original price for the 4-day seminar was $1,500. That's a lot of money to some people when they got 3 or 4 months to come up with it. If Gary and them, and it's just my opinion, are going to continue grip next year, they need to come up with their program now, whereas a guy can say, you know what, I'm going to budget my $125 a month as a bill, send it in, you know what I mean, and boom, boom, boom.
And it's funny that you say that, because I actually had a conversation, because I've gotten to know Gary through doing the show and stuff like that, and I actually had conversations with Gary, and I was like, if you got any ideas, give me a shout and use me as a sounding board, because I went through the program now, I see how it worked, and even during the whole weekend, he would come up and be like, hey, how was that, or whatnot, or I'd go up to give my opinion on something, and we actually had a conversation about a similar idea, and I told him, you need to bring your marketing in.
Because people get their taxes in, they might say, geez, I can pay 3 months, and it's like a sponsor. It's a lot easier for a sponsor to give you $100 a month than it is to write you a check for $1,000 in June, or May.
They'll get it. They're working the bugs out still. They have stuff they have to work out. They'll get it. One of the other things about the grip seminar that some people might have saw, and on the program list and stuff, and been like, oh, geez, blah, was having the wind tunnel guy get there. The wind tunnel stuff. And they're like, oh, I raced at a short.
It matters.
It's not as entailed as it would be as at the cup level or wherever, but some of the stuff that we picked up from that is just, it's unbelievable, how things work, and I'm not going to talk about it, because if you wanted to know about it, you should have been there.
Gone, paid the money. So I think you're right. I think they got something to grow on.
Yeah.
I think they'll get better, and it's like anything.
Right.
Year 1 of the Oxford 250 wasn't as good as year 2, and maybe years you had better races, but you realize things that do work and don't work. So it's good that I'm glad you guys ended up going, you and Dan and Matt, because it brought a little something back to the table. It gives us something to talk about with more insight, rather than just saying hearsay. Well, so and so said, or this. You were actually there.
I don't want to bring in the big guy's standpoint from the whole thing, but one of the things that, like, a lot of people don't realize is, they gave you an hour for lunch, but they provided the lunch, and it wasn't just, it was a nice buffet.
Do you think the viewers of Mainly Motorsports ever noticed, has there ever been a show that we've gone through in an hour.
And we
that
haven't talked about food.
Doesn't come up in some part of... I had a guy tell me the other day, right? You're going to tell that Greg, and I'm going to say who, right? He's talking about the candy. Who cares about the candy? Who had the better candy? Look at the size of you guys. I don't think you've ever had a bad piece of candy.
That was just for Kendra's benefit.
Oh, okay.
Because her and Bobby Timmons were going at it on Facebook about the candy, who had the better candy. So, I had to give my dig in.
I mean, we do eat, so yeah. So you go to Grip, if nothing else, you get fed.
And they were good meals. I mean, just the whole experience. That was my point.
And that's
the whole experience was a lot more professional than even I expected.
So obviously, everybody that went this year will probably return, and then you'll pick up the new ones because they're going to tell your friends, and using your clout. And
it was very good, and they supplied. And they had some giveaways at the end of it that they didn't announce. It was kind of a surprise, and they gave away an M package from AR Bodies.
Yeah.
So.
Oh,
there was some perks to it, but
somebody took something home, and missed you last week, but you hooked me up with Laura. So
you said you wanted a blonde,
and we're on a roll because actually later on in today's episode we got another blonde.
Yeah.
And blonde,
another
brunette,
female driver.
Yeah. If you're a female driver and you want to be on camera, what a way to start, right here at Mainely Motorsports. I'm not saying anything good's going to come out of it.
You can't look any worse sitting next to Steve.
Probably more bad could come out of it than good, but no, it'll be an experience if nothing else.
And I think we're going to have another female at some point. I think, my sister's going to come in and stand in for me because,
Do I have to be on my best behavior that day?
No, you can do whatever you want.
Okay.
She'll handle herself, believe me.
Oh.
She's the one in the family who's tough.
I'm
not the tough guy.
But you, even though you weren't here, the kids made you let us in on some insight. Daniel and Sean last week on what Greg really does.
I walked into the house the other night and they took off running.
No, that was good though. What a good experience for the boys to see themselves. And that's what's neat about a little local TV show. We can basically, within reason, until they tell me I've gone too far with something.
I called up little Sean McKegg during the show last week. I was like, hey, let me talk to Sean. And he gets on the phone and he's like, hello? I'm like, what are you talking about me saying on TV? And he just started laughing. He's like, Dad, the phone's for you. Passed the phone off. He wouldn't even talk to me.
Really? You got him, probably afraid you're going to eat him. Right? Everything you talk about turns into food, so.
Yeah.
But no, we got a great show planned today. We caught up with our first young gun.
Yep.
Bradley Babb
out of Wyndham.
So get a word from him and hear what he has to say about the opportunity that is presented to someone.
Right.
Somebody. Now he could be. He went from narrowing it, from all of the age 15 to 21 age group kids in the state to now he's got 10 and he's only got to beat 9.
What was funny about that was where he lives and that they don't have cable, so they don't get the show. They watch online or whatever. And so he didn't even see the announcement. So like all of his friends were like lighting him up on Facebook, congratulating him and stuff. And he's like, I was like, for what?
And it's funny is I know they didn't, and I didn't think, but this is how tightly wraps this is.
Yeah.
I
didn't know until
you don't know. Obviously, because you weren't here. Laura wasn't even here last week, and our guest hostess later in the show when we do it is going to be thrown out. I mean, I literally won't throw her out, but she'll probably take me. But you know what I mean? Because it is an exciting thing to be sitting there and it's suspenseful.
Yeah, it was.
And then because last week, we burned 3 DVDs. I send them off to a couple of TV stations to keep one. Wouldn't it figure the one I send to Time Warner has a little glitch in it? So it's having a glitch coming up to it. And I'm standing there freaking out because Archie's dragging the announcement out. And I'm like, just say it. Just say it. Will you just say it? So we at least get it out there. And then it can do whatever it
I got friends texting me with like, what's going on? And I'm like, oh.
My email, my Facebook, my phone, my text, everything's blowing up.
I'm texting my friends back. I'm like, if that gets wrecked, that part of it gets wrecked, Steve's going to kill someone.
Oh, yeah, I'm driving the Time. I'm going to the DVD company, so, but we got, but it's good. And congratulations to Bradley. And you'll see later on today's episode who's this week's young gun is. We're going to take a break, and we'll be right back here on Mainely Motorsports.
Today's vehicles are equipped with complex safety features, such as anti-lock brakes, seatbelt restraints, and airbag systems. Even collision avoidance systems. Not available in all models. Hi, I'm Sean Moody from Moody's Collision Centers. We don't wish bad luck on anyone, but even with today's technology, we need to keep our eyes on the road and our hands on the wheel.
Moody's Collision Centers, now with 6 convenient locations.
Life in Maine is all about outdoor fun and being close to nature. Southern Maine Jeep is all about delivering you the best selection and the best prices at one location. Live it up with a new 2011 Jeep Grand Cherokee, increased horsepower and mileage. Or go for the all-new look of the Jeep Compass 4x4. If Maine had a state car, it would be the Jeep. No other vehicle has the capabilities that come standard on every Jeep. No other dealer is working as hard to be #1 as Southern Maine Motors.
Patman's Redemption and Agency Liquor Store is located at 95 Tanberg Trail in Windham, Maine. With over 400 feet of hard liquor and 15 doors of ice-cold beer and soda, Patman's can handle all of your beverage needs. And if it's wine on your agenda, we have over 300 varieties in stock. Then when the party's over, Patman's can handle all of your Maine returnables, and we welcome all bottle drives. And if you're late for the race, drop off the bottles and pick up the cash at your convenience.
Hey, this is Pat Man himself, just letting you know that Pat Man's is your one-stop shop for all your thirsty needs.
Mainely Motorsports, brought to you by Award Champs, rewarding your champions, the official supplier of Mainely Motorsports. LKQ Core, any part, any repair, anywhere. Located on Route 202 in Gorham.
Hey, I'm Steve Mignotti. You might see me on the Barrett Jackson Collector Car Auctions on Speed Channel, or maybe read my stuff in Hot Rod and Carcraft magazine. But when I'm in Maine, I get my fix from Mainly Motorsports.
Welcome to Mainly Motorsports.
To order copies of a show, send a check or money order for $15, shipping and handling included, to Mainly Motorsports, 326 Roosevelt Trail, Windham, Maine, 04062. And please add a description of the show.
Well, we talked about in the open, the Young Guns.
Yep.
And, last week, obviously, it got out there, but, really, what a good job Dave did with the other stuff, the silhouettes.
Silhouettes
and making it.
plugging heads
pretty
in.
cool, and even had that suspenseful music, like somebody coming up out of the cellar or something, or you're behind the shower curtain and there comes Angus Butcher or whoever the guy was in that movie that was going to hit you with a knife or something. I don't watch scary movies. Let me tell you something. I don't watch scary movies. I'm scared of the dark, and I don't watch scary movies. So I've never seen any of those.
Scared of the dark.
Oh, petrified. Why are you laughing?
Because it's funny. Oh, now I'm going to cut the power with some house.
Really? Well, I got a wife there. She'll be on. If I'm home alone, every light on in the house is on. I've never watched a scary movie. I went to a movie once at the movie theater, and I screamed. I was so embarrassed because everybody turned around and looked at me, right? I was like, when the lady pulled the pot off and there was a dead rabbit cooking in the thing. I mean, there was a little kid. I'm telling you. So don't ever. I shouldn't have put that out there to let people know I'm scared of that.
Oh, that's great.
Well, anyway, back to last week's Young Gun thing. But what was pretty cool is, seeing, you mentioned how Bobby found out. I mean, Bradley found out by, his buddy texting him. But it was to see all the other adults and the followers of Mainly Motorsports and other kids
on
hoping
Facebook.
to be one of the top 10. Congratulating him. So
it was neat.
Still trying to clue Jason Thompson in on how the process works. And this is a guy that knows all about racing. And I've explained this to him 2 or 3 times, and he still ain't got it. So I don't know. Maybe he's already spotting for Corey Bubar, and he can't back up and just think a couple months ahead or back. So Jason. This week, I'll explain it to you again, how the process works. But no random order, it was just Bradley Babb. And
pick out of a hat. The top 10 are drawn. They were based on the votes that were received in Augusta.
Yeah.
You're picking out of a hat. You have your top 10. And then everybody is back at square zero and how they perform, doing their interviews, doing this, how they do in their racing season. Everything is going to be looked at by the panel of judges, and then you guys are going to narrow it down to 3. There's going to be no pecking order. There's going to be no ranking. It's going to be that 3, and then out of that 3, there's going to be the one who gets in the seat. It's simple.
So there you go, Jason. Greg just told you, and I'll probably have to explain it to you again, but enjoy what Bradley Babb has to say about the opportunity that's presented to someone as well as himself, and his racing career up until where he is.
Yeah, he's going for it.
All right.
Brad Babb, 19 years old, from Windham, Maine.
Okay, you just told all the viewers who you were, but tell them how good this feels to be voted in by the fans to be one of the top 10.
Well, it feels pretty good. I know a lot of people are watching, I guess, if I'm getting voted in, and I don't know, it feels good to have a chance at this and maybe get a ride in a K&N car.
Yeah, because ultimately that's the goal of every young driver from the first time you strap in a race car or a go-kart or a mini bike or whatever it is, to keep progressing up. And to a lot of the young drivers around here, that's our ultimate goal. We realize that maybe the nationwide or the cup stuff is off limits, but that's our goal, is to race at Loudon. And I know you've got some experience there with the ACT, but still, the K&N deal this year on a Saturday at Loudon in front of all the fans and all the cup guys. But if it's not you, what does it mean to whoever is the driver that's chosen and gets that opportunity?
Well, it's a pretty big deal because a lot of the rides in the series now you have to pay for, and there's not many chances to earn a ride and not have to pay for anything. So this is a pretty big deal for whoever wins it. If you don't have a lot of money, you can still do it and not have to worry about it.
Now, the Babb name, that's been around forever. Your grandfather, your father, and you're following right in the footsteps. I mean, I don't think you have that championship yet that they both have, but I don't think it's far off either.
Yeah, hopefully we can try to beat the old man up this year and get one, because he's coming back. So it'll be the first time I've raced against him, and hopefully we can beat him a few times.
Now, last year you ran the ACT stuff. You ran some pass stuff. You ran some Beach Ridge stuff. What are the big differences that a driver has to adapt to in running three types of racing? And a couple of the cars are similar, but still the racing's different. What are the differences and the toughest things about that?
Well, with the ACT cars, we started the year doing that mainly, and just pretty much ran out of money to pay for hotel rooms and stuff like that at the end of the year. And we had gone really good at the beginning and just kind of got off track, I guess, and didn't have much luck. And then we finished up the regular season at Beach Ridge, and that type of racing's completely different because you don't have to really manage the car. It's 40 laps, and you go for broke and get all you can get with the time you got. And then the few pass races we ran, we went really good in two of them, and you got to manage your stuff, but you got to earn everything you get, because it's hard to pass guys like Johnny Clark, and it's hard to keep up with some of them. So you got to keep driving hard, but you got to save your tires for the end.
Yeah, and you had a podium finish at White Mountain, and then the Beach Ridge Pass 300, their biggest race on this schedule. You ran well at the end, got kind of caught up in racing some veterans, and they kind of showed you the way around, but you still had to be pleased with the outcome, and it just gives you something to build upon coming into 2012.
Yeah, we were happy to lead laps at Beach Ridge, and just at the end of the race, we pretty much the same bad luck thing that was happening with the ACT deal, just got stuck behind a lapped car and then got drove up the track by someone I was racing with, and just nothing really worked out, and we ended up getting spun out and getting lapped. But White Mountain, that was a pretty cool deal, because I've always liked that place and never had a good finish there, but we've always been fast, so finally to finish one off up there was pretty neat.
Yeah, and you've only 19 years old, but you've had a lot of support up to this point in your career, because you started at such a young age. And take this time to talk about the people that have got you to this point in your young racing career.
Well, mostly my dad and my grandfather. From the time I was a little kid, I remember watching Dad and going to Beach Ridge every week and riding home in the truck with him, and everything. Anytime someone would run into him or he'd put a move on someone, I remember hearing about it, and most of the times I'd try it myself later on once I got old enough to drive. So I learned a lot before I was old enough, and just try to hang on to everything I can and listen to everything they try to teach me.
Yeah, and that's a key with a young driver is try to absorb as much because experience is something you can't buy. And your father's got tons of experience out there. Your grandfather's got tons of experience. Even though it was mostly or all of it on the clay, it's still racing experience around that track. So just to feed that knowledge off to you and then you absorb it and then do what you can with it is really going to turn out good for you in the end.
Yeah, hopefully I've learned enough I can keep up and beat him again beat him for the first time this year. But
well, and I'm sure that he's got his share of championships. He'd like none other than to finish second or third and have you pick up your first championship as a Pro Series runner at a place he's called home for so many years.
Yeah, I'm sure he wants number 6, but hopefully we can give him a run for the money.
All right. Well, good luck in the competition, Brad. And there you have it. You got a word there from Young Gun number 1, Brad Babb, 19 years old, from Windham, Maine. From 2-place opens to 5-place enclosed, if you're in the market for a snowmobile trailer, we have Maine's largest selection. Over 100 used sleds in stock with no money down financing available to qualified applicants. Our showrooms are fully stocked with snow clothing for kids and adults, plugs, belts, oil, and more. Scotch Recreation, Route 202 Manchester, and Holton Power Sports, Route 1, Holton, Maine.
Clark's Car Crushing has been a family-owned and operated business since 1978. We do everything from crushing cars, handling industrial scraps, to buying the scrap metal right out of the back of your pickup. Copper, brass, stainless steel, aluminum, you name it, we'll buy it. We have roll-off containers of all sizes for industrial accounts. We'll handle the legwork with full drop-off and pickup services. So for a professional job, guaranteed honest weights, and top dollar paid statewide, come see the Clark family in Farmingdale, Maine. Clark's Car Crushing. Don't fix it, scrap it.
Teacher, car salesman, take advantage of me.
You didn't go to Ospey Trail?
No, I went to the other guys.
Other guys.
Don't bother going to the other guys. Go to Ossipee Trail Motor Sales, Route 25, Gorham.
Mainly Motorsports, brought to you by Northern Race Tire, dealer for Sunoco Race Fuels, distributed by New England Racing Fuel. Moody's Collision Centers, now in 5 convenient locations: Biddeford, Gorham, Portland, Sanford, and Scarborough.
Well, now we've moved on to another female driver, for anybody that doesn't know, and she's pretty recognizable. This is Vanna Brackett from Oxford, 2011 Strictly driver, now 2012 late model driver. But I'd like to welcome you to Mainly Motorsports.
Thanks for having me.
And because a lot of the stuff that goes on here is some pretty crazy stuff behind the scenes, isn't there?
It's pretty funny. Yeah. Pretty comical.
Pretty comical, yeah. Maybe some week we'll have like our own.
Can you just have a bloopers?
Yeah,
episode?
we're gonna make one. I'd say we'd have our own stand-up comedian act going on here, but me and Greg are both pretty lazy, so it'd have to be a sit on the couch.
When you guys do the couch episode, you have to wear the same shirt so you guys be twins.
Twins, yeah.
Bobsy twins.
We'd have to go to like the big and fat store. We had we were just talking about Halloween before we came back on. Yeah. We'd dress up like Raggedy Ann and Andy.
There you go, that'd be good.
Yeah, 2 big Raggedy Ann
Bert
and
Ernie.
Yeah, no, there's probably a lot of things. That's what I'll be thinking of for the next few months. But you've turned into quite a little racer yourself. Coming from the racing family, Dad Tim Brackett, brother TJ Brackett, but growing up as a kid, what made you decide that, you know what, I want to try this racing game myself?
We always just went there every week. It wasn't I can't wait till Friday night to go hang out with my friends. I can't wait to Saturday to get to the racetrack to just be with everyone that you grew up with and watch your family and participate in that.
Yeah, and then, sitting in the stands with your mom. Well, your mom's always been a very active part of your dad's race team. So did she sit in the stands with you, or were you off with friends or grandparents or relatives? Or?
No, until I was old enough to go in the pits, she was in the stands with us.
Yep.
So she even sold 50-50 for a while. So.
No, that's cool. And then, you talked about you just didn't show up at Oxford at the age of 16 or 17 to decide to race. There must have been something in the early Vanna years, and that you tried to make you realize, you know what, this isn't bad, and I like it.
Yeah, we had 4-wheelers and always raced around the yard. We'd set up, me and TJ would set up tracks out back with our neighbors. We were really into racing with our bikes and everything.
anything.
We had clubhouses made out of race car parts.
Clubhouses.
Yeah.
Is this what they do up in Buckfield?
I was in Oxford.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, you lived over in Oxford? Now you're in Buckfield, right?
Yeah.
All right. Now I've been to Buckfield. They have a mall,
Yes.
right?
Very famous mall.
Yeah, the Buckfield Mall.
You
So
can get
anybody-
everything there. You can run movies.
Yeah, so anybody
Pump
doesn't
gas.
realize the Buckfield Mall, because I remember once going to TJ's house and or your dad's, and he said, "Yeah, you go right by the Buckfield Mall." So I'm looking. Where was it? Oh, was you blinking? Yeah, you missed it. But no,
You
that's
return your bottles there. Everything. They
Yeah.
do it all in one shop.
So then you start racing. You must have started out in the ladies' league up there.
We started go-karts when I was 14, 15. They had a league over at the fun park for you paid your dues every week. Drew for a cart, so it wasn't like you brought your own. Whoever had the better cart won. Is you had to. I was racing against grown men when I was 14, 15, and finished in the top 5. There was like 100 people that do it. So
That grows you up real quick.
yeah.
So how much of an advantage is it for you going racing, having your dad, and he's had success, not your dad just riding around, a dad that's had success, has, knows the knowledge and what it takes to make a car go around, and when you go in the corner and turn left, go left, not the car want to go right, or the rear end want to beat the front end of the corner, and then a brother that's, learn. I mean, it's got to be a huge deal.
Yeah, there's no beating around the bush. If I did something stupid, they're gonna tell me what to do instead of, and I trust them because they know, they do it, they know everything about it, they know the ins, the outs,
Yeah, and we talked about your dad's had a lot of success, and something that you said earlier, and I tell this to people all the time. When I was younger, I was the same way, and a lot of people were all week long. It was like, can't wait to go to the races. It
Right.
was like a big deal. Now I think a lot of the younger kids they do so much other stuff that the racing is like now an afterthought. It's not the highlight of the week. It's just sprinkled in with everything else they're doing. But you race, I know you've raced some other tracks, but week in, week out, you race at Oxford.
Right.
How cool is that for a young lady to race on the track that she grew up sitting in the stands watching? I mean, the little boys, they all dream of that, right? Oh,
Right.
I'm gonna be Mike Rose someday, or Jeff Taylor, or Tim Brackett. But we got little Vanna Brackett. I don't know if you ever did any dance classes?
No, I just did. Well, I did gymnastics when I was little, but
Yeah, so
that was in the morning. Then I went right to the track.
right to the track. But a little girl sitting at Oxford now is the girl racing at Oxford. How cool is that? Do you ever stop and just think about that?
It's definitely awesome. The kids I graduate, they're all just amazed and love to come out and watch. So I have really good support from the community. So it's just awesome to be there and put on a good show for them.
And that's one of the things, because obviously there's not a lot of women there that compete against the men. Now, obviously you have the
Right.
ladies division. But you got to be looked upon as a role model for these young girls, looking up, wow, there's a girl, there's pink on her car, there's purple on her car, I mean, what happens during autograph sessions? Are you one of the more popular ones for the crowds to come to?
I believe so, yeah. I go through it quite a lot. Last year I made those rubber bands that had my name on them, and I had 200 of those, and they went fast. Still having people ask for them, so I'm gonna have to get some more made up for the autograph sessions and give them to the little kids. Something they can keep with them. It's not like candy here.
Yeah, no.
You have it for 15 seconds. Enjoy.
So it's like having Greg here. We got to talk about candy. It's got to talk about food. So maybe it isn't just me and Greg, being the overweight host and co-host of Mainly Motorsports, always talk about food. Vanna's here, and we always end up talking about food.
I like to eat. I don't, whatever.
It doesn't get put on.
I work out. It's okay.
You work out. Maybe that's what me and Greg got to do, is start going to the gym.
You can host from the gym.
Yeah,
That'd be scary.
We could host a show from the
I
gym.
don't know if anybody will watch that.
Yeah, we could. Yeah, I think they would.
I think they'd shut it off.
No, what are you saying?
Two big sweaty guys. It's not going to be a crowd drawer.
Jeez, Greg, I think we're getting slammed, but no, you know what? You're probably right. You're probably right. I wouldn't.
No offense.
She's got me. I have to stop now. We got to take a break, and I'm going to come back because I can't say what I'm thinking now. So we'll take a break, and we'll be right back with Vanna here on Mainly Motorsports.
Is it time to replace that old car, but past credit problems are getting in the way? At JT Motors, credit issues are a thing of the past. We have vehicles for any need. Growing family? How about a minivan? With winter here, come in and browse our great selection of four-wheel drive utilities. With a low down payment, you can qualify for this program despite those past credit issues. That's JT Motors, 650 Roosevelt Trail, Windham, where you always drive away with a smile on your face.
Patman's Redemption and Agency Liquor Store is located at 95 Tanberg Trail in Windham, Maine. With over 400 feet of hard liquor and 15 doors of ice-cold beer and soda, Patman's can handle all of your beverage needs. And if it's wine on your agenda, we have over 300 varieties in stock. Then when the party's over, Patman's can handle all of your Maine returnables, and we welcome all bottle drives. And if you're late for the race, drop off the bottles and pick up the cash at your convenience.
Hey, this is Pat Man himself, just letting you know that Pat Man's is your one-stop shop for all your thirsty needs.
All of us at Moody's Collision Centers would like to thank you for supporting us for over 30 years.
We all own stock in Moody's and have a vested interest in you and your vehicle.
The people at Moody's Collision Centers are part of the community, and our reputation is very important to us.
We take pride in our work and guarantee our repairs for as long as you own your vehicle.
At Moody's Collision Center, we care about our customers.
So when your insurance company asks where you want to go, tell them Moody's Collision Centers. 4 convenient locations: Gorham, Scarborough, Biddeford, and now Portland.
Mainely Motorsports, brought to you by Clark's Car Crushing, located in Hollowell, providing guaranteed honest weights with top dollar being paid. Gary Hotels, located in Brunswick, Freeport, Waterville, and Augusta, the official hotel of Mainely Motorsports.
Welcome to Mainely Motorsports.
To order copies of a show, send a check or money order for $15, shipping and handling included, to Mainely Motorsports, 326 Roosevelt Trail, Windham, Maine, 04062. And please add a description of the show.
Hey, I'm Kyle Busch, and when I'm in Maine, I watch Mainly Motorsports.
Well, now I'm back with Vanna, who's up 1-1. We're keeping score. Vanna 1, Steve nothing. So
Right.
I might lose today, but
Battle of the sexes.
Battle of the sexes. Yeah, I don't have much of a shot, right? And there we go again. Got me going. I'm losing my train of thought. But
Do I have to host? And you
yeah, maybe we better switch seats. You know, there's a lot of female racers in the state.
They're growing. It's
Every year
awesome.
it's growing, and some real good ones. And then there's some young starting out, and that's where it came into. You know, you had maybe an advantage because you still got to perform, but you had an advantage because of your dad and their experience. But these other ones that maybe don't have a lot of experience, but do you follow along the other racers and their exploits and what they got going on and their success and all that?
Yeah, definitely. I like their fan pages on Facebook and everything, and just see what they're doing.
And then we
encourage them.
Yeah, and
it's
that's
all about encouragement.
That's what it is.
We all need to be there for each other, and
because let's face it, you are the minority in racing,
right.
And that's good. And then like the Mainleys, you didn't win this year, but I think you won last year.
Yep.
For the female driver of the year, and every year I think you've been up because you run up front and you.
I think I got races. The first year too that you did it.
Yeah,
so I've done it, had it twice.
Yeah, so no, that's good. And then in 2010, you were approached by Kevin Burgess, Gene Hatch. You were running your own deal, with help from your dad.
Car.
And they offered you the opportunity to drive something that they had put together. And
Gene had raced his Strictly all year. Just I wanted to try something different. Asked me if I wanted to run it in the little guys race, so I did, and finished 9th after we wrecked and had to pit under green. So should have pitted under that yellow, but we're third, and
you always look back.
They couldn't tell how bad it was closed up. It was overheating, but it was under red flags. They're like, well, once it starts rolling, it'll go back down. It never came back down. So quick pit stop to pull out the nose, and away we went. Finished 9th, so they were really impressed, and we ended up going to Unity, and that wasn't so great, but that wasn't my fault. So I got kicked out for other people.
Yeah, that suck. Somebody else, and it happens. But
they asked me back, but that's too much of a haul.
Yeah. Now
I like home track. It's
something to be said about racing your home track. But was it a tough decision to leave the kind of family deal and go with somebody else, or was it because you can always go back?
I'd already done everything in ladies that I was gonna do. Won a couple championships, most wins. There's nothing to look back on. No regrets. So.
No, and they do.
They treat me just like family. I'm one of them. Their family comes and supports me. It's great.
You know, that's huge. Now, 2011, you ran the full deal in the Strickleys. Beautiful car you had, and it was award winning. I mean, you won off-season awards.
Yep. Every show we went to got one.
You know, then you raced, and you had a pretty good, because that's a tough class. You're racing against guys with a lot of years' experience, you know, and they're not going to roll over because it's Vanna Brackett, because it's a girl or nothing. They're going to race you the way you're going to race them. And
I mean, I was racing against guys that were running against my father back in the Charger days, so it's cool.
Yep. You know, now the opportunity that they're presenting for this year, the late model.
Yes.
I mean,
can't wait.
Are you nervous, or I mean?
Both. I'm really excited, but I'm kind of nervous. I don't want to be in the way. I don't want to wreck anybody else's opportunity to do good, but I definitely want to gain their respect and do good.
Yeah, and you've earned that right. You know, it's not like you're just showing up with some kid that's got a pocket full of money and decided today she wanted to race a car, and Dad says, you know, okay, let's go. You've earned the right. You've earned the respect at every step of the way, and you know, and obviously they're the guys that are spending the majority of the money. They have the faith in your ability and seeing that.
Right, they're behind me 110%. So. You
know, and then to go and you know, be on in the same race as your dad and your brother, and then you know they have, you know, obviously the ACT tour comes to town, and then you know that big weekend in July. I mean, how big of a deal would it be to be standing in the starting grid for that and have your name announced and go over the podium and all that?
That would be dream come true. It'd be awesome.
Yeah, you know, and then you, your brother, and your dad. And has there been much shop talk this year, or around the kitchen table talk about what to expect or what not to expect, or just are you guys just going to play that by ear?
Just kind of playing it by ear. I mean, got to get the first week out of the way and see where we're at.
Yeah.
Get a couple practices in and see what's going on with the car, how I'm adjusting to it, what I can do to improve.
And obviously having Tim Brackett out there, you know,
not that he's show me the line.
Yeah, well, not that he's going to have your back. He's not going to, you know, I mean, he's still trying to race and find success for himself on a weekly basis. So, but in the same sense, that is his little girl out there, and she's not going to let her get pushed around and abused for no reason. Now, if Vanna wants to initiate it, you know what, and it comes back at her, well, you know what, that's racing.
Tough luck, yeah.
You know, so, you know, we talked about Gene and Kevin and how much, and I know, you know, how supportive they are of you, and, you know, with phone calls we've had and talking to them at the show. Talk about some of the other people that are behind it and really make it happen, the sponsors, you know?
Yeah, we had the American Legion riders, the Sons of American Legion, both post 40 out of Winthrop. They're huge supporters. They come to the track, support me. They have me over to the Legion Hall to watch races and just do events with them. And then we have Beaverbrook Campground, Parks Performance. I got a new one on board, Johnson's Excavation. He wants to come to the track and help, so he's behind us 110%. Tucker's Auto Repair, he was with us last year. Pepper's Restaurant in Winthrop came on. Sit and Bowl. TJ's Pizzeria is back. Phil's Variety is back. Bill Coolidge, he's been supportive of me since the ladies, so he's back again, and I'll be racing against his son, so.
Well, now he's got two chances to have one of his cars in victory lane next week.
Right, exactly.
You know?
Someone else to work with, so we get a couple alliances out there, so it's good. Old Mill Auto, they're on board. Garrity's Industries, they did a lot for us last year, buying safety devices like my Hans and seat belts and everything to.
No, that's cool. So, you know, and then I don't care who you are, you need the support of sponsors, and you know, and obviously with the amount of sponsors that Kevin and Gene and yourself have put together, they see value in involving themselves with you.
Yeah, and of course Gene's Auto, he owns his own business, and he keeps the car right there, works on it, free time all the time. Walks by, looks at it, thinks it's something new.
Oh no, I can imagine.
Kevin, Burgess Race Room, so.
Yeah. No, well that's cool. Well, you know, we wish you the best of luck, and you know, for everybody that's wondering when they go up there, at car number 3, because for the last couple of years you were last year you were car number 60 and you ran 23 in the ladies, but now you're car number 3.
Yep.
Why?
We're all Earnhardt fans. Nobody could agree on a number. we generally get a lot of sponsors, so we didn't want a double-digit number to take up a lot of room. I was wearing my Earnhardt hat one day, and they're like, well, that looks good.
It's available.
Pink 3, so.
No, that's good. And the car, we saw the car at the Northeast Motorsports Expo. It looked really nice. So, you know, like I said, good luck this year. And, you know, obviously we follow along. We love to follow the ladies because with my daughter being a lady racer now, you know, I've always had a vested interest. And when I go to a racetrack, you know, when they announce a driver introduction and there's 15 drivers or 20 or whatever, there's 1 or 2 of them that are ladies. You always want to know because if there's nothing else going on in the race, well, that's what the lady's doing. How's she doing? Oh, it's good, you know. So it is pretty neat. So all you fans at Oxford that don't know, Vanna's going to the late model in number 3, and other guys that go up to the track and check it out, and for the first, you know, few times, it's Vanna Brackett, number 3.
Yes, thank you.
All right, well, we'll see you next time, and we'll catch up with you during the summer.
Okay.
But you're still up 1-0, I'll give you that, but I'm going to get you. We're going to take a
How many
break.
tallies can we get over the summer?
Oh, geez. Wow. Uh-oh, challenge. But we'll take a break, and we're going to get Greg back here and wrap up this week's show.
Live it up with a new 2011 Jeep Grand Cherokee. Increased horsepower and mileage. Or go for the all-new look of the Jeep Compass 4x4. If Maine had a state car, it would be the Jeep. No other vehicle has the capabilities that come standard on every Jeep. No other dealer is working as hard to be #1 as Southern Maine Motors.
Winter is here. Are you ready?
We are.
Our showroom is stuffed with clothing for kids and adults. Plugs, belts, oil, and more. Looking for a snowmobile trailer? Scotts Recreation is Maine's largest stocking snow pro dealer. We also have over 100 used sleds in stock. Check us out online at scottsrecreation.com. That's Scotts Recreation, Route 4 in Turner, or Holton Power Sports, Route 1 in Holton.
Clark's Car Crushing has been a family-owned and operated business since 1978. We do everything from crushing cars, handling industrial scraps, to buying the scrap metal right out of the back of your pickup. Copper, brass, stainless steel, aluminum, you name it, we'll buy it. We have roll-off containers of all sizes for industrial accounts. We'll handle the legwork with full drop-off and pickup services. So for a professional job, guaranteed honest weights, and top dollar paid statewide, come see the Clark family in Farmingdale, Maine. Clark's Car Crushing. Don't fix it, scrap it.
Mainly Motorsports. Brought to you by Award Champs, rewarding your champions. The official supplier of Mainely Motorsports. Southern Maine Motors, out to be Maine's #1 Chrysler Dodge Jeep dealership. Route 1 Saco.
Wow, we're flying. We still got a couple segments to do, and, but Vanna did a good job.
She got you.
She let me. But I was trying to be a gentleman. You got to give me credit, because you know when I want to go, right?
Oh, it's funny. I just snorted on air.
Oh, he snorted. He grunted. Like grunt, you know? Oh,
I could see the level going in you, and I knew your head was going.
Oh, yeah.
The wheels were going.
Yeah, but I knew we're on air. It's a young lady. I got to let her win. Not that I let her win, but you know what? I'll have my...
you didn't let her win.
I'll have my day. She was good.
Yeah.
She was good. She was pretty witty.
Yeah, I was worried that my seat was going to be forever taken over.
You're in trouble.
I don't care.
No, you're good. You add to the show.
Yeah, add TV screen.
Yeah, he fills up them 60-inch TVs. But hey, there is some racing going on with some Maine flavor this weekend.
Yeah.
Down there at Watermelon County or Watermelon City.
Capital Speedway.
Down in Georgia, you know. You got some big guns there. Reagan, Bush, Jeff Foltz, Johnny Sauter, who was on top of the speed chart on Friday.
Yeah.
But we got Maine's own Austin Terrio driving for Brad Kozlowski Racing.
Yeah, making his first start of the year for Brad Kozlowski Racing.
We're filming this. They're racing Sunday, and we're, obviously we're filming before Sunday, so we don't really know what the outcome is. But
Yeah, they were running good in the first couple practices that I saw Friday on Speed 51. I followed it a little bit. Very good in the first couple practices, and then apparently they had engine trouble, and they had. There was some pictures Saturday morning on Facebook of them changing the engine in the parking lot of the Holiday Express. And I got to tell you, Matty Sanborn, some of his comments, some week he's taking my seat right here.
Matt?
Yeah, because he comes up with the wittiest stuff sometimes, and I've known him for years. He puts on Facebook, because they get a picture of the car on jack stands in front of the Holiday Inn Express, and, the back of the trailer open under the lights and stuff. And he puts on there, I'm not an engine builder, but I did stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night.
Well, isn't that the place that makes you a genius?
Yeah.
Everybody ought to stay with them. But yeah, no, so good luck, and you can follow along and
Yeah.
look up on Austin Terrier Racing. Speed 51 usually has a replay. You can go back and click on it, follow
Right.
along. So
See how
Austin
we
Terrier
did.
Racing, and Brad Kozlowski Racing, and Young Austin Terrier.
Yeah.
So we're gonna take a break. We'll be right back on Mainly Motorsports.
Hey, are you Bob Crowley?
Yeah.
Are you going to Ossipee Trail?
Yes, I am.
Sweet. Get in.
People will do whatever they gotta do to get to Ossipee Trail Motor Sales, Route 25, Gorham.
Patman's Redemption and Agency Liquor Store is located at 95 Tanberg Trail in Windham, Maine. With over 400 feet of hard liquor and 15 doors of ice-cold beer and soda, Patman's can handle all of your beverage needs. And if it's wine on your agenda, we have over 300 varieties in stock. Then when the party's over, Patman's can handle all of your Maine returnables, and we welcome all bottle drives. And if you're late for the race, drop off the bottles and pick up the cash at your convenience.
Hey, this is Pat Man himself, just letting you know that Pat Man's is your one-stop shop for all your thirsty needs.
Mainly Motorsports. Brought to you by Scott's Recreation, now at 3 convenient locations. Go to scottsrecreation.com to view their inventory. LKQ Core, any part, any repair, anywhere. Located on Route 202 in Gorham.
Well, something I think of, we're talking about now, it's Young Gun time.
Right.
I should have been riding her about the fact that she's not young enough to be a young gun. She's too old, right?
Yeah, she's old, right? Yeah.
I mean, but, really having these young female drivers on, and even when I had like Josh Cantera on and stuff, they really make us look like crap. You know that? I mean, sitting next to
That's why you have me, so you don't look as crappy as you do.
Well,
Bring me on, my ugly mug.
I mean, you know what I mean? And I don't think it really, we feel it,
Do you realize there's people on the edge of their seat at home right now waiting to find out who the next young gun is?
and we're talking about
Us and how we look, and people don't care.
the old lady we had on today.
Yeah.
All right, well, we'll just tell them then.
The next young gun.
Yeah, the next young gun. The second young gun to be selected by the fans in the top 10. And, like we said, don't think I got the second. You didn't.
Right.
It's just a random draw. Dustin Hubbet from Unity. So.
And congrats to Dustin. And he really did a good job. He put himself out there he made a banner for himself and had it put on the windshield of his car up to the Augusta show, letting people know, hey, I'm Dustin Hubbet, vote for me. Got some votes out of it, gets in the top 10. Bam.
Yep. So congratulations, and you'll hear from Dustin next week on Mainly Motorsports when we make the announcement for Young Gun number 3.
Got one more week to sit on the edge of your seats for the next person.
Yep. So we're going to take a break, and we'll be right back to wrap up this week's edition of Mainly Motorsports.
Today's vehicles are equipped with complex safety features such as anti-lock brakes, seatbelt restraints, and airbag systems, even collision avoidance systems. Not available in all models. Hi, I'm Sean Moody from Moody's Collision Centers. We don't wish bad luck on anyone, but even with today's technology, we need to keep our eyes on the road and our hands on the wheel.
Moody's Collision Centers, now with 6 convenient locations.
Is it time to replace that old car, but past credit problems are getting in the way? At JT Motors, credit issues are a thing of the past. We have vehicles for any need. Growing family? How about a minivan? With winter here, come in and browse our great selection of 4-wheel drive utilities. With a low down payment, you can qualify for this program despite those past credit issues. That's JT Motors, 650 Roosevelt Trail, Windham, where you always drive away with a smile on your face.
Mainly Motorsports. Brought to you by Gary Hotels. Located in Brunswick, Freeport, Waterville, and Augusta. The official hotel of Mainly Motorsports. Northern Race Tire. Dealer for Sunoco Race Fuels. Distributed by New England Racing Fuel.
Hi, I'm here at the Northeast Motorsports Expo, and I'm here with the Northeast admissions rep for the University of Northwestern Ohio, Bob Alexander. And I'm just going to pass the mic off to Bob and let him talk about their program and what they bring to the sport of auto racing.
Well, thank you. It's a great opportunity for us to be here at the Northeast Motorsports Expo. The University of Northwestern Ohio is a pretty unique university in that we're a full university. It's a private, non-profit university. And the piece that we bring to the forefront today is our motorsports program. We offer training for young people that want to be involved in motorsports, in that we can train them in all aspects of engine assembly, welding, fabrication, machining, to prepare them for entry-level positions with race teams. So a student can earn a degree, associate's degree, bachelor's degree. We also offer master's level programs. UNOH is heavily involved in motorsports. On the national level, we sponsor races at Bristol Motor Speedway for the Whelen Modified Series. We recently did a deal with the Thompson Speedway with the North-South Shootout, where we brought the Whelen Modifieds from the south to Thompson. We had a great response from that show. And that has enabled me to get the approval from the university to do more things in the Northeast. We got some exciting things coming up this year that I can't really divulge right now, but we're happy to be here in Augusta, and we've had a great response from participants and spectators.
They will be revealed one at a time each week on the Mainely Motorsports.
Now, you do a little, I don't want to say sponsorship, but like advertisement on a couple local divisions and stuff like that, one of them being a go-kart that's behind you. Talk a little bit about that program that you guys do.
Okay, well, I've got a little personal involvement in this car. It happens to be my grandson's race car. I raced personally for about 25 years throughout Maine. So now my grandson's coming along. He's 12 years old right now. He's been racing since he was about 5. But the past few years we've been running the World Karting Association Northeast Pavement Series. So he's working his way up the ladder. Our plans are right now probably to move up to a Legends car either this year or next year for him. He's 12 right now. But this car actually recently just came back from Daytona. We were at Daytona over Christmas for the WKA Dirt Series racing there, and he placed 4th in his division in the National Dirt Series. So we're pretty proud of that. But we're always looking to help young racers and with any way we can. So.
Well, I'd like to thank you, Bob, for your time with us, and I wish University of Northwestern Ohio the best in 2012, and I want to thank you for what you do for auto racing in the Northeast and in America. And we'll be right back with Mainely Motorsports.
From 2 place opens to 5 placed enclosed, if you're in the market for a snowmobile trailer, we have Maine's largest selection. Over 100 used sleds in stock with no money down financing available to qualified applicants. Our showrooms are fully stocked with snow clothing for kids and adults, plugs, belts, oil, and more. Scott's Recreation, Route 202 Manchester, and Holton Power Sports, Route 1, Holton, Maine.
Today's vehicles are equipped with complex safety features such as anti-lock brakes, seatbelt restraints, and airbag systems, even collision avoidance systems. Not available in all models. Hi, I'm Sean Moody from Moody's Collision Centers. We don't wish bad luck on anyone, but even with today's technology, we need to keep our eyes on the road and our hands on the wheel.
Moody's Collision Centers, now with 6 convenient locations.
Life in Maine is all about outdoor fun and being close to nature. Southern Maine Jeep is all about delivering you the best selection and the best prices at one location. Live it up with a new 2011 Jeep Grand Cherokee, increased horsepower and mileage. Or go for the all-new look of the Jeep Compass 4x4. If Maine had a state car, it would be the Jeep. No other vehicle has the capabilities that come standard on every Jeep. No other dealer is working as hard to be #1 as Southern Maine Motors.
Patman's Redemption and Agency Liquor Store is located at 95 Tanberg Trail in Windham, Maine. With over 400 feet of hard liquor and 15 doors of ice-cold beer and soda, Patman's can handle all of your beverage needs. And if it's wine on your agenda, we have over 300 varieties in stock. Then when the party's over, Patman's can handle all of your Maine returnables, and we welcome all bottle drives. And if you're late for the race, drop off the bottles and pick up the cash at your convenience.
Hey, this is Pat Man himself, just letting you know that Pat Man's is your one-stop shop for all your thirsty needs.
Mainely Motorsports, brought to you by Award Champs, rewarding your champions. The official supplier of Mainely Motorsports. LKQ Core, any part, any repair, anywhere. Located on Route 202 in Gorham.
Well, February, next week, we have to announce what our race pool is for the 2012.
Oh, what we're going to do for the pool thing?
We got to figure that out so people can.
So we need to decide if we're going to do Yahoo or ESPN.
We got to find one that's easy, because I have a hard time with anything that's hard.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that doesn't make sense.
I can do anything.
All right, but I want people to, we'd like to get some people in, and maybe I'll even put up a prize package for anybody that wins.
You know what? Here's what we're going to do. You're going to see this show. You got between here and the Wednesday after. Put it on the Facebook page if you're interested in doing the pool, which one you like better, ESPN or Yahoo one.
And the guys from the Turner Ridge Runners got to contact us. I got my driver that wants to win that thing. We just got to know what we need for a sled.
Right.
And I want to give them the chance to come on and promote that one Lunger race. So
right.
Hopefully they'll have some snow and but
another thing coming up, we got Racing Preview coming up the end of February.
Poland Expo,
Poland Expo show.
If you want the tracks, talk with your tracks. If your tracks aren't going to participate, some do, some don't.
Right.
Let us know, Marco or myself, if you want to.
It's always a good time.
Yeah, go down there, hang out the weekend, and
Yep.
Just another time to see us and introduce yourself, and maybe we can get Vanna to come down and meet some fans or something.
Pass out 50-50 tickets like her mom used to do.
Yeah, sell 50-50s like her mom.
Right.
She's a racer like her brother and dad, so now she can do the 50-50s like her mom.
Right.
We'll get her a special 50-50 outfit. Her old field hockey outfit. She can go around with a stick. Can you imagine? That was like field hockey. You're letting a chick run around in a skirt.
You put a chick in a skirt running around at a racer show. She's got a field hockey stick. There's going to be a lot of bruised shins in the place.
Could attract some new sponsors for herself. Right? Well, I hope you enjoyed this week's edition, and I think we're on to something. We're announcing a Young Gun a week, and we're bringing some
better-looking talent.
Better-looking talent in a week. So I think we stay with this role. So if you think you're a better-looking talent, you want to come sit here and make me look worse than I already do, just let us know.
Just got to leave a seat open for my sister for a week.
Oh, yeah, we will. We will. We'll get Emerson number 2. So.
Well, she's Taylor now, but yeah.
Taylor, okay. We ain't taking a break because we're done. So we'll see you next week here on Mainly Motorsports. Welcome to Mainly Motorsports.
To order copies of a show, send a check or money order for $15, shipping and handling included, to Mainely Motorsports, 326 Roosevelt Trail, Windham, Maine, 04062. And please add a description of the show.